Just so people, well, first of all, I rise in support of the Senator Vitter's amendment. And just so colleagues of mine don't think I'm a late comer to this battle on pay raises, I want to refer to a debate that went on in the House of Representatives July the 30th, 1975, my first 2 years my first term in the House of Representatives. There was a little non-controversial appropriation bill that came up that's referred to on page 25, 824, 825, and 826. A little non-controversial postal safety bill come up for postal employees. And attached to that bill was the provisions of the law that's been a little bit changed in 1989, but go back to this postal bill in 1975. When included in it was a provision that's referred to here as Section C2, effective at the beginning of the first applicable pay period commencing on or after the first day of the month in which an adjustment takes effect under Section 5305, and I'm not going to read the whole legislative language from that debate, but it essentially said that members of Congress were going to get an automatic pay increase just like civil servants were already getting. Well, the stage on that day was set so that everybody was going to be on the floor of the House of Representatives. The idea of the Republican leadership and the Democrat leadership, and don't forget the Democrats were controlling the House at that time with only 140 or 141 Republicans, as I recall. Anyway, the idea was to get everybody on the floor, so when unanimous consent was asked to bring up this bill, that there would be unanimous consent and there wouldn't be a vote, because everybody, even 34 years ago, didn't want to take a vote on raising pay, and particularly you didn't want to take a vote on the automatic increase in that pay. So they had the stage all set. And there's two words I want to refer to you after my name, Mr. Grassley. And this is after unanimous consent was asked for. I said, I object. Now, my point in objecting wasn't knowing whether or not I could kill that piece of legislation at that particular time. It was that I thought, as Senator Vitter thinks, and as I think yet today, 34 years later, that if we're going to have a vote on a pay raise for a member of Congress, we ought to have guts enough to stand up and cast a vote yes or no. And eventually, the bill passed that very day by just a one-vote margin, 214 to 213. And I remember after that vote, I was sitting, well, what difference does it make where I was sitting? But I remember this, that there was a Mr. Owens, a representative from Ohio, who was chairman of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. It's still called the same thing today. He was chairman of it, and he came up and he pointed to me and he says, "We're going to get you." In other words, he was going to do everything he could as chairman of the Democratic Campaign Committee to defeat me in the next election. Well, he didn't defeat me in that next election, and I haven't been defeated since, and that's got nothing to do with it except that I think I was reflecting what the attitude of the people at the grassroots of America were then, and I think Senator Vitter is expressing that same thing today. My colleagues at that time were not happy with me, and they probably aren't happy with what Senator Vitter is doing today. I thank him for going out in front.